rugby has wrecked my body. I'm 40. I've had 13 surgeries in my time. I was very lucky through my career. I wasn't injury prone apart from the last 2 years. And that was, I ruptured my plantar plate, my main ligament in my left toe in 2016, 17. Had to get it repaired. Took me 8 months. I got arthritis in the joint from years before, of it being damaged. That was agony. That basically was what finished me. My right ankle, I had osteogonoma, a piece of floating bone. They took that out. That made no difference. By the time I came back from my ankle, my toe blew up and I couldn't run anymore. I've had, a screw put in my wrist, 21, taken out, spinal surgery, discectomy. I've had my left patella scraped. I've had, my ankle fused, subtalar joint fusion. I've got discs and calcification in my neck. My fingers, I've had this finger's been fused. This finger fused naturally. I'm wrecked. And so, that's why I'm so keen to look after my health now, because I wake up every day in some sort of, pickle really, and it varies, and I've got a daughter and you want to run around, but I haven't run since I retired. I physically can't run. And so, some people are built for it, but it's a very wearing sport. And ironically, I looked after my body really well when I played, but I pushed it. I played with the anaesthetic in joints. I did, I didn't rest as much as I should have done. I pushed it really, really hard. And that's what I mean about the checks in the post. I did way too much and trained too hard, forgetting that you don't win awards for training, you win awards for games. Got that imbalance right towards the end of the career. But I am now reaping the benefit, and I will have another, 40 years of this,
Is there a mental toll to a big injury?
100% mental toll to a big injury. There's, it's in probably the darkest period in my life. It was the 8 months I had at Saints, also really enjoyable. But, that factors, I was getting older. I couldn't perform as I would want to do. I couldn't bounce back from injuries. I couldn't get back to where I wanted to be. I watched younger players surpassing me. And, everything that I'd always done and got back from, I wasn't able to do as quickly as I can. Then you ultimately have to retire. Then I went on to do MMA, which is insane, which put more toll on my body in a different way. And so, I think for me, that mental side, that constant pain, that constant wearing, and that bit, that loss of not being able to do what you love. If a rugby player doesn't play rugby, is he even a rugby player? Yeah. Some existential question. I sort of, but I worked through it. I did therapy. I got treatment through it again because I was like, I can't do this on my own.
How does recovery look for you now versus when you played?
Tin of nourishment in the car. No, I mean, I things like I have, so from a point of view of seeing a wellness doctor and going and, and looking after your bloods and your TRT and your health, your supplementation, your sleep, Pilates, massage, physio once a week, eating well, trying to avoid other things, like I drink, I have the odd cigar, those things, but all in moderation. I don't drink a lot. I get back on track pretty quickly, and so I think trying to remove some of those dangers, but also still living a life. I don't want to be Brian Johnson, who's spending £1 million a year trying to look younger, because I don't think that's a very fulfilling life, if I'm honest with you.
I thought you said Martin Johnson.
No, Martin Johnson. I think is it Brian Johnson, that guy that's spent £1 million?
Yeah. I was still on the rugby idea there. He hasn't spent £1 million a year, has he?
No, Brian, no.
Lovely guy. Was alcohol big, or is it still big, do you think, in the rugby world?
No. A lot of people dislike rugby players because of rugby teams at universities.
Right.
That whole lad culture, on the piss, weird initiations, drinking pints of their own sick and shit, doing all that kind of stuff. We just didn't have that. We were binge drinkers. We would drink, I didn't drink for 7 years out of fear that it would really affect my performance. I saw some of the best players in the world have a beer after a game, enjoy stuff. I realized that balance is great. The problem with alcohols or substances or whatever else, it's the knock-on effect, it's the hangover, it's the eating badly, it's the tired, it's the dehydration, it's the imbalance, it's the time your body takes to process it in the liver and all this kind of stuff. So I try to be very mindful of that. I don't drink in the house. When I go out, I would always, I try to hydrate really clearly. But equally, if we're going to get on the smash, do something, I'll do that. So it wasn't when I was a player at all, no.
So isn't like the difference, so you weren't bad as a player in terms of recovery. Yeah. Is it just more now that you're better with self-care than you were in your 20s?
No, I was good at self-care in my 20s. It's just a very attritional sport. It's like, I played from 16 to 35. I played for England from 21 to 2019. That is a long time to be at the top of your game. And that is a long time to do contact training 3 times a week. That is a long time to play probably 500 games in a back row position. And my determining factor as a player was my physicality in both carrying and tackling. It doesn't matter how well you look after yourself. These things are all 1%ers. Recovery, there's no miracle. Like, even taking all the gear in the world ain't going to fix you. It's 2% wearing legging, wearing compression. It's 1%, 2% ice baths, 2% sauna, 2% diets, 20% sleep. All these add up, like marginal gains, like Dave Brailsford has said, to get you where you need to be. But you still feel like a car accident after, I'd play a game and 2 days later, I was pretty much unable to walk really. And I was aching. Then you have 3 more days. 4th day is a light day. 5th day, go fuck yourself up again. And that's the way it goes.
Yeah. And then when you're like my son, he's like 13, full game Sunday, back on Monday, doesn't feel anything.
Full games, full game. And when I was a kid, I'd play Saturday, Wednesday. Yeah. No, I would play Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday.
Relentlessly.
And so, that's just where it is.
So what do you think great health will look like for you when you're 50?
Great health for me will be consistently checking on where I am bloods-wise, managing prostate, managing hormonal profile, diet, will be exercise.
Do you think you'll be pain-free?
Never be pain-free, no.
That's a tough gig to deal with though, isn't it?
I mean, I don't see a horizon where I won't be pain-free. I mean, I had my screw taken on my wrist 5 months ago now, and it's probably worse than it was before.
Right.
And that's arthritis, that is pain, that is the scaphoid operation. They excised more bone than they probably wanted to, because my bone density on every DEXA scan was kind of the same as was right on the outer spectrum. That's why I touched, but I haven't broken anything. It was same, like it was like Tongan specific islanders. On DEXA scans, it was like they were like, "Fuck me, your bones are dense." People every time a surgeon tries to drill into my bones, I said to the guy with my wrist, I said, "Listen, just to let you know, my bone density is pretty tough." But I've seen it all. And he came out and he's like, "Fuck, we went through three drill bits trying to get that thing out, and it does it." So. That I don't think I will be pain-free, but I want to be able to a point where I'm more mobile. This is the most annoying, agonizing thing, but my back is pretty screwed as well. So, I'm just trying to manage all that really, but I just want to have a functioning life so I can keep living at the pace I live at, because again, I have a very chaotic lifestyle. My work days, like yesterday, filming day was up at 6:30. I finished at 1:30. Today, I've probably got 6 things to do. And every day is like that. And I thrive in that chaos. And actually, I find inactivity way more destructive than activity.
If there's one piece of advice you would want to give men about your experiences you could impart to them, that they can start today to make a difference, what would it be? It's
very simple. It's and it's in a quote. You can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to yourself. Is start being honest with yourself. Do you drink too much? Do you smoke too much? Do you take too many drugs? Are you in pain? Is your body functioning? Are you training? Are you looking after yourself? Are you eating well? Are you being a good partner? Are you going to be a good parent? I don't need to know the answers, but you need to know what's going on. And if the answer to any of those questions is no, then do something about it, because it's in your control. And there's 4 things you can control: how you treat your body, how you treat your mind, how you treat other people, and how hard you work. That's it. Can't make yourself more popular, can't make people like you, can't make people give you money, but you can do those things. And that's a really important factor in any area of life, whatever your discipline is those are the questions you have to ask yourself and go, what are you doing about it and how are you doing it? And if the answer to any of that is you're just lying to everyone, then ultimately you're just fucking yourself. Because what happens is when you get old enough or in your deathbed, no one ever says, I want another Ferrari, another car, another house. They go, I wish I had more time with loved ones, and I wish I'd looked after myself more. And that's the truth of it. And it's in your control today to stop lying to yourself and stop lying to others and start being honest with yourself.
Thanks for watching this episode of Man Alive. If you would like to hear more about men's health or might be interested in hearing about the health habits of some of our amazing celebrities, then please listen to or watch more of the episodes on the Man Alive podcast, or you can follow me directly on Instagram at Dr. Jeff Foster. Thanks again for watching or listening.